Welcome. We're living at a time like no other on planet Earth. Spiritual, physical, metaphysical, insights, wisdom, challenges. We're more connected by technology and less connected to each other. We're all seeking answers, and we're often too busy to listen for the truth. Her story and his story and our story. I research, I question, I look for answers to share with you, exploring higher visions. Authors and publishers and creatives, all bringing us their empowerment tools, their insights. And I'm mining for those gems of wisdom. In these podcasts, we'll delve into the tears of sorrow, joy, awe, anger and overwhelm, the challenges, the triumphs of life. What works for some people and might work for you. We share the fiery energy of transformation, healing, inspiration, and lots of revelations. I am Catherine Whalen Costin, an author, an artist, a storyteller, a podcast producer and host. I'm a fellow human sharing this journey of life with you on the planet at this time. Let's chat. Let's explore. Well, hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you're listening. I'll bet you washed your face and brushed your teeth and combed your hair and put on some clean clothes today. That is called self-respect. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Respect in all kinds of ways, and exploring the subject, the topic, my observations, offering you a little insight and something to chew on. Before we get started, I want to apologize. There's been a delay in the podcast. It is clearly due to the fact that I've launched my new fall fashion line, some new art on canvas. Wow, I know sometimes I spread myself a little thin, as well as promoting my book, Permission to Breathe, a memoir. And I'm going to show you, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to show you some of the new fashions, and I'm going to show you some of the new art that is available for sale on the website, CWCArtandSoul.com. So stay tuned if this is of interest to you. I intend to do a series on these different topics to explore. If you enjoy this, please like, subscribe, share. I know that my podcasts are longer than most, and it is meant to be that way because it is a discussion. And I know sometimes it's only me, but I'm hoping that the person who's watching this, you, are enjoying the discussion. It's giving you something to think about and discuss with people around you in hopes of making this world a better, more peaceful, harmonious way of being. And respect is a big one, big topic. And I know that there are people who never had the chance to wash their face, brush their teeth, comb their hair, get clean clothes on, maybe have a good meal because of the situation we have in our society, the disconnect, the lack of respect for other, and the elevation of value of some people, but not all people. And so that's where I'm going to This is a continuation from part 1. So part 2, talking about respect, and I will go into more details on the isms and groupthink and more. Thanks for listening. And I think that too many adults today are showing the outward manifestation of people who don't respect themselves. To me, you're not respecting yourself. You're not respecting the English language if you're speaking English, or another language if you're speaking that in vulgar terms. You're not respecting the language when you are focused on every other word is, an F word or a vulgar word or something to attack others. You're not respecting the language. There's so many other words you could be using. You're not respecting yourself when you don't respect others, because we're in each other. And the idea that there's some talk right now, there's a lot of talk about race and racism and a lot of isms, which is the whole concept of isms is to divide, to elevate and respect some and to disrespect others. You don't have as much value as I do if you are not like me. And nobody is like you, right? Nobody is exactly like me. And so some of the things that people are getting really uptight about and in the way women dress, whether or not, they wear a hijab or a veil or their skirts too short, too long, whatever it is, the way women dress for whatever reason, whether it's religious reason, whether it's fashion, whether it's their personal preference, those are things that have always been used against women. Women have been exploited and disrespected for their person. Disrespected in the sense that they've been treated as a product, as an object to be used for selling cars and refrigerators and whatever. Clothes, our whole sexuality and sensual nature has been used to sell. So obviously there's aspects of society that understand the power of a woman's sensuality and sexuality. Otherwise they wouldn't be using it to sell. They would use a horse or a dog or a man, right? But they've been using women for various marketing schemes, and it has nothing to do with the actual woman. It has to do with her physical body, her object, which belongs to her, by the way. But we have a society that is trying to suggest it doesn't belong to her. And you can see it in all the different ways that people are trying to control it. And why are they trying to control it? Because they know its power. Oftentimes, the one that doesn't know the power is the self. Women have been taught that we're the weaker sex, or that it's important for us to step back from men, to elevate men, disrespect ourselves, to elevate men, put men in positions of power because they know best. And yet, we know that's not true. It is fundamentally not true. They don't know best. As a gender, just by the fact that having a penis does not mean they have a higher intellect or that they know what's best. And men and women are both suffering because of this. Different cultures. There isn't one that is better than. They're cultures, they're ways of living, and most cultures came from the environment. We adapted to the environment we were living in, what was available, the foods we ate, whether or not we need to be fully covered or not so covered, cold, hot, whatever it was. We adapted to those things. Religion, yes, has played a role in it, but religion also came from the environment. It's man-made. All religions are man-made. So there were ways of giving people direction or some kind of connection to something outside of themselves, to reassure, to try to calm the fear. Because if people didn't have something to calm their fear, they couldn't, they'd be stuck. As we are when we have that fear response. And when you've had a lot of trauma, you can often have a really high fear trigger. survival. It's there, and it is being exploited by those who really want to keep society back in the patriarchal ideology. And we're changing. We have to change. We have to adapt. We can't make the world what it was when we were in our infancy and as humans on the planet. It just won't work. They've shown us having a strong, toxic, masculine energy running the planet is killing the Mother Earth, and it actually is destroying humanity because we don't have balance. And there has to be. In all of creation, there's masculine and feminine energy. And it isn't about one dominating the other. It's about cooperation, co-creation, working together, and both have to be respected. And the toxic masculine is not the same as the sacred masculine. The sacred masculine is what is needed at this time on the planet, and it's in all of us, men and women, just as the divine feminine is in all of us, men and women. There's just no way around it. We have to evolve, and we have to respect our home. Our home, we have to respect each other. And that means no matter what. We don't have to agree with each other. We don't have to see the world in the same way. But we have to have the respect to allow the other to be exactly what it was meant to be, the other. You know, when a tree is a tree, it's gorgeous, it has a purpose. It helps us breathe on this planet. And when we just respect that and say, well, actually, a cement building where the tree is has more esteem, more value. That's not true. And we have to start looking at the planet that way. Yes, we do need homes. We do need homes for everyone. We need to focus on the idea that all human beings have a right to be on this planet or they wouldn't be here. And so, the same with Mother Earth. There's a purpose. There's a reason we have trees. So clearing all of the trees away from an area is contributing to what we call climate change. Well, of course, because the Earth is out of balance. You look at just a tree. I mean, not talking about all of other nature. The canopy that it provides to help keep the Earth cool, to give off oxygen for us to breathe, to clear toxins from the air, to root into the earth and hold the earth in place. So when you get really big rains, the earth doesn't shift in huge ways when there's enough trees. All of these things are actually well known and yet ignored for greed. For a few people to have more. And we see this on the global stage where certain people believe they have the right to control everything, and people included. That is total disrespect for the human species, for the animals, for Mother Earth. Because it's not true. It's a lie. It's one of the biggest lies. And the fact that we keep saying there's not enough, that's also a lie. And I think it was Gandhi who said, there is enough for everyone. There just isn't enough for the greedy. So that's what happens. Greed is just another form of addiction. Just hoarding, taking control, having everything, and then what? One person cannot use all of the resources that often they are holding on to. And the inability to see that, to understand that when you are able to share resources, and we all benefit. You know, if you don't take care of the people in your family, then they can't take care of you. And we are all part of that collective family. And when I'm getting back to the point about race, you know, we are all part of the human race. And how that expresses the pigment of our skin, the way we talk, the color of our eyes and our hair, and all those things, what we eat, and the way we dress, they're just different expressions. But we're all one race. We're the human race. And so this constant idea that certain people need to be elevated, respected for their whiteness or their maleness or their status, and others disrespected, is absurd. In Canada, our universal healthcare system was created with the idea that every human life have value. And so that the person who is, unfortunately, doesn't have a home, and they have a problem, they see a doctor when they need the doctor, not when they've proved their worth. So it's not about a doctor looking in the waiting room and saying, oh, there's a guy in a suit who has plenty of money, so his heart condition needs to be addressed. The guy who lives on the street, well, he's going to die anyway because he's living on the street. And that is not true. But the guy that's wearing the suit today could be the guy living on the street tomorrow. And that was the mindset behind the universal healthcare system, was to realize that but for the grace of God go I. Any situation can change. You get in an accident and you can't work anymore, and you can't wear your suits, and you can't buy them, and you can't pay for your car and your house and what have you because you're sick, and you lose all of that. And you can't get to a doctor because you don't have the money to pay, and you end up living on the street. Everyone deserves a home. Everyone deserves to be safe, to be respected, to be, when they're interacting with people who we call authority, so police, healthcare people, the system, they need to be respected. We all deserve to be respected, and not less than because our ancestors did this or that, or we happen to have a certain color skin, or we're from a certain culture, or what have you. If you look at the history of humans on the planet, our genetic, our heritage, we've all lived. Our ancestors lived all over this planet. And some of our ancestors were pretty miserable people and destroyed other cultures to try to elevate their own. And that is the old patriarchy that has to go, because it can't continue. And that's just the truth. I mean, we are seeing it fall, and a lot of people are uncomfortable right now because it is so stressful watching it fall. But I heard a really great analogy on this, and that's the house that you've been living in is crumbling, but you are building a new house. And you have to build it on the same land that is the old house was on. But you're not going to build it with the rubble. You are going to have to bring in new supplies. You're going to have to bring in a new point of view. You're going to do it you're going to put something different into it so it won't crumble. You want to create a solid foundation, not one built on lies and corruption and the old ideologies and indoctrination and conditioning. And in order to do that, you're going to question, why did that fall? What was out of balance? And that's what we're doing as we go forward on the planet. So we need to respect each other. We need to respect the planet. We need to respect each other's contributions. And it's not about just tolerating. In Canada, we have a multicultural society, which means to say we see all different cultures being expressed and all have value. And yet we're being pushed into this hate mentality that somebody else's culture or way of dressing or way of speaking or whatever it is somehow a threat to yours. And I would suggest that if you feel threatened because of someone else's culture, then your culture is not that strong. That maybe you need to focus on developing whatever it is you consider your culture and allow others to express theirs, whether it's religion, the way they dress, the way they, whatever it is, and not try to push it, yours, onto someone else. We can't be other people. We can only be ourselves. And too many people today are actually trying to be something they're not being authentic, because they're trying to please and prevent conflict. Just like I was talking about with myself, growing up with a lot of trauma, I wasn't being myself. I wasn't respecting myself. I didn't even know myself. All I knew was that to survive, I had to keep certain people happy. And that's not living. That's that whole concept, which I quote all the time, something I wrote, which is there's a huge difference between living, thriving, and actually just trying to avoid death. And I really want you to think about that, because you are contributing. Whether you're saying anything or you're not saying anything, whether you speak up when people are being disrespectful to others, or whether you are being disrespectful to others and yourself, you are contributing. You can contribute in a positive way, or you can be part of trying to hold on to the old patriarchal ideology, which is crumbling. And you do see, if you could see, a image of this system, this old patriarchy, you see people hanging on for dear life. Well, it's just crumbling. Trying to squeeze out that last bit of money, that last, idea. And what I see happening a lot is, because it is crumbling and because it was based on fear and lack, there's a whole group that are really trying to incite young people, particularly young white males. They're appealing to their egos to suggest, look, you're the ones who are supposed to be in charge. You're the smarter ones. You're the ones with this, what they call pure blood, which is absolutely absurd. But, you are superior to women. You are superior to people with a different color skin or different heritage. So you're the ones who is supposed to be in charge. And they are so fearful that, they need guns. They need aggression to try to make themselves seem as important as they've been told they are. And that's not what makes people important. All people are important. And no people are wise enough, experienced enough to control others for the benefit of the all. And if, when you look at the people they're appealing to, it is very much cult mentality, but it is also very much based on fear. And young people, and even the older generations who were indoctrinated into it, they're not benefiting either. You are not going to benefit from a relationship with a woman when you think you are superior to her, when you don't see her value, when you disrespect her, you are not going to have a happy home. You are not going to be able to thrive. Which is why there's another saying, behind every successful man is a very intelligent, incredible woman. And people who are not identifying as male or female, part of that, I see it as this evolution. They're embodying much more of the divine feminine and divine masculine or sacred masculine energies. And it is energy. It is expressed in specific gender, but it is energy, and it's in all of us. And as a woman, there are times when we have had to, and I in particular know that I've been much more in my masculine energy because I had to be doing. I had to provide for my family. I had to do things to take a stand, to protect, to defend, to fight, and to nurture, which is also masculine energy. And so we have been sold a bill of goods, and we have been taught to disrespect others, and that somehow made us respect ourselves, and it doesn't. You cannot elevate yourself by putting other people down. You never will. You will never gain. Your ego mind might tell you, see, I am really important. I am better than the other. And it can tell you that till the cows come home, but the reality is you're not. You're not going to be. And society's not going to see you that way, particularly if you're bullying your way. They're not going to see you that way. You can be in a very high position of power, and people are not going to respect you when you have got there by stepping on other people, hurting other people, taking from other people. Because that's not how a healthy society can be. A healthy society can be formed. It can't. That's not healthy. It's not healthy to have one person in a household, in a family, dictating for all others in the family who they are, what they can do, what they can't do. They're not valued because they're not old enough. They're not the right gender. They're not the right skin color, whatever it might be. That's not healthy. And if you take away those healthy supportive structures to help all people thrive, then the system, the body of humanity is also going to be unhealthy. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing a lot of fearful people. Why do so many people feel they need a gun? They're in fear. And particularly in Canada, where we have a fairly peaceful society for the most part. Excuse me, for the most part. And the last thing that a peaceful society is going to benefit from is people walking around with guns. Especially people who have a very over-inflated ego, who believe might is right. Might is never going to be right. It's just never going to be right. That is a total disrespect for the human creation. And so I really just am hoping that this is something for you to chew on, to explore. And I'm not trying to make anyone wrong. The young people today that are being manipulated and exploited need to know that they are being manipulated and exploited. A lot of them are giving up their dreams because they're being rallied into off the track of their dreams to put their energy into fighting for a politician's agenda. They're being used rather than putting that energy into creating something. Maybe they have the capacity to create the newest invention to help all of humanity. And they're not doing it because they're busy putting their energy into fighting to put other people down, to, beat their chests and say, I am important. Look at me, I am important. You are important. There's no denying you're important, but you're not more important than others. And getting a good education, educating yourself, curiosity, those are things that show respect for yourself. The way you speak to others, the way you speak to people in authority, people who are who you would consider beneath you, even though that's not really true, but people who you perceive that way. If you do not give those people respect, you're not respecting yourself. If you go to a restaurant and people are waiting on you, the people who are serving you, and you don't respect them because you think you're more important than they are, then you're disrespecting yourself. Because when you think about it, without them, you wouldn't be eating. The more you respect yourself, the more you are able to respect other. And it's really important right now to help others to notice where we're being manipulated and pitted against each other and taught that we have to fight against others in order to, prevent dying? But we're not living when we're doing that. We're always in fight mode. And that fight, that war mentality is always very profitable to those who are in the war industry. And that whatever they're selling, they're the ones who profit. We do not. Humanity does not benefit and profit from war. We never have, neither does the earth. We are the ones who pay the price. And people who are being told that they have to hate on somebody else, that is it's a resource that's sucking the energy out of really having a good life, a productive life, a contributing life to the greater good. And when you're contributing to the greater good, you're also contributing to your greater good. And it doesn't mean you can't have money or you can't make money. In fact, you personally will probably make a lot more money if you put your energy into building and creating something good than you will in trying to destroy others or feeding hate or spending your time on the internet telling people that, hateful things. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of your energy, and it's a waste of your talent. And all of that given to you by the Creator, whatever you want to call it. And it doesn't matter what we call it. It is this life force that's in all of us. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God is not the issue. When you look at someone who's dead, who their body is died, there's nobody in that body. So you're obviously, whatever's walking around is spirit, covered in skin and bones and hair and what have you. And it's important because it's our vehicle to get around on planet Earth, to see each other. Because we don't, in our human form, it's hard to see spirit. But when you look in someone's eyes, you can see spirit. Unless something is masking it, whether it be drugs or other addictions or hate. You can see hate and fear in people's eyes. And you can feel it in their interactions with you, no matter which words they use. So what is the message you are giving to the world? What is it you are showing the world how much you respect yourself by your actions, by your words, by what you're actually focusing on? Not fighting constantly, which it's up to us to decide whether we want to fight other people's battles. Who is benefiting? Always ask yourself, who is really benefiting when you buy into someone else's fight? When you get into that whole battleground arena? People have been fighting emperors, wars, kings and queens and dictators all over the world for a very long time. And a lot of innocent people have died, given up all of their life force for somebody else's fight. And that is not to say that we wouldn't want to stand up to these bullies and those who are seeking to control all the resources. But I would say this, for every war, whatever, big or small, there's always something that led up to it that could, if we intervene in advance, we could have probably prevented most of them. And one of the biggest things that we could do is by not supplying the war machine with the resources. Because that's what we do. And that's big and small. So when you individually allow yourself, your resources to be used to promote hate, to put other people down, because you've been taught, you've been exploited and manipulated to believe that if you do that, you are somehow going to benefit. And you're not. And we see that happening. We see people who are so frustrated, so angry because they know they put all their energy into hating on certain people and it hasn't benefited them at all. They didn't get more. They thought they were told if they put that person down, if they stepped on those people, if they shunned those people, if they smeared them, if they attacked them, whatever it was, if you keep women down, somehow men are going to get more. No, they're not. They're not. They're going to get less. They're going to get less quality. Their lives are going to have less joy. Because we are meant to work together. I hope that helps in some way to bring about an awareness, a conversation because I know we're going forward we're going whether we want to or not. We are evolving. And for those of us who want peace, who want joy, who want harmony, who want more than just tolerating each other, but actually want to really enjoy the human experience, we are not going to waste our time on hating others. It has no true benefit. That's one thing I know. We generally hate what we fear and fear what we hate. And there's no, it's like a steady diet of poison. There is no benefit. And I just want you to think about that. And I do hope that the concept of respect and being disrespected becomes part of your awareness. Am I being disrespected? And am I disrespecting others? And what does it mean to me to be respected? And what is my value? Because I really think a lot of people don't realize their value, and they are looking at someone outside themselves to give them that sense of value. And that's why they're attaching to things like, I have value because I'm a man. I have value because of my skin color. I have value because I've accomplished this. I have value because I have a lot of money. Or I have value because I don't have money. I have value because of what I eat or what I don't eat. If you're identifying your value by these external forces, you're missing the point. You have value because you're here, your spirit having a human experience, and you have value. It's a given. It's a gift. It has tremendous value. Your life has value. What do you want it to mean? Do you want it to mean something positive? You contributed to the evolution of humanity. You contributed to finding ways to live peacefully and harmoniously on the planet. or you contributed to destroying it. We're kind of at that crossroads where what are we building? What are we choosing? And we each can only make that choice ourselves. No one can make that choice for you. I don't care which group you belong to. Groupthink is only good for one movement, and that's where the group leader wants to take you. And if you really respect yourself, really value yourself, you wouldn't do groupthink. You would assess that and look at, what do I, as a divine being, what do I want to contribute? My life. Because when we do all go into the ground, which is inevitable for all of us, it's the only way off the planet. And when we go, the people who we've met along the way, they will remember you, not who you worked for, not your political affiliation, not whether or not you dressed a certain way, looked a certain way, had a certain skin color. The people that you met along the road of your life, even now, the people you've already met, are looking at you and what did you contribute to their life. Was it a positive or a negative? Did it feel good? How did you make a person feel? Did you respect them? And do you respect yourself? And that's the contribution that you actually, that's your legacy. That's what you leave on this planet. That's your footprint. And that is worth thinking about. That is worth exploring. And so that's it for today. That's the podcast. Respect. 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 And I hope it has added something to your life by exploring with me, because these topics are pretty big and they're deep, and I know that. And I really appreciate you all joining me. And if you stayed this long into the podcast, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. It's a wonderful time to be on the planet, and I'm very optimistic that we are going to evolve into the species that we can finally be really proud of ourselves for the courage it takes to walk away from groupthink, the courage it takes to really co-create and to be part of that solution, truly part of the solution, and let go of our fear that we're not going to get enough. There is enough, and it's a matter of where we put our energy. And I know you can do it. I know I can do it because my heart says yes, yes to peace on earth, yes to harmony, yes to fairness and equality and justice, really true justice, not this just locking people up because they don't conform. Yeah. It's, we talk about freedom a lot, but I don't think that a lot of us are actually longing. We're longing for freedom, but how we're going about it is actually putting us into another form of prison. When we're just in these cults, in these collective groupthink, that's not freedom. That's giving up your freedom to follow someone else's vision, ideology. And that's just sad. It's kind of a waste of our own intellect and passion and life force, right? So I hope this has been helpful. And as I said, if you are interested in my inspired art, my fashions that all are created, designed by me with my art, and then individually, each piece is made individually, and it's not a print. It's each thread is dyed with this very environmentally friendly process to create the image from the painting onto fabric so that it's art to wear. It's movement, it's fun, it's really joyful. And I'm super happy that I've discovered this in myself, and being able to share it with the world. And I hope it makes the world a better place for having it available to you. And it's been a real joy for me to create. Until next time, take care.